post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not a disorder. And that's another misnomer of the whole thing. It's not a disorder. So I call it post-traumatic stress directive. The brain has a purpose for what it does. And if you, and that's a big difference than disorder. It means you're jacked up. This is for educational purposes only. What I'm sharing here is about how the mind works, how memories and emotional patterns shape your life. This is not medical advice, and it's not a replacement for your doctor or your therapist. If you have any physical or emotional health concerns, make sure you talk to your qualified professional before making any decisions. Take what works, be smart, take care of yourself. And remember, you're not broken, you're just running a program.
Yes.
And it's not an injury, it's an education.
Yes.
It's an exposure to the world. And from that experience, your brain has to do something.
97% of what you've been taught about PTSD is wrong. Today, we're exploring what PTSD really is, how it impacts every area of your life, and how lasting change is possible. It is my honor to introduce to you Robert Jean. He is the founder and CEO of Skills to Change Institute, the creator of eutaptics and FasterEFT. He is known as the Einstein of the mind. Robert has spent over 4 decades helping people rewrite memories, shift emotional patterns, and create measurable, lasting change. I am your co-host, Crystal Dirksen, and here is your host, Robert Jean.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Yeah, June is PTSD Awareness Month. And of course, when we say 97% of what you know about PTSD is incorrect or not complete, there's a lot of shortcomings. And the reason is it's that way is because if you go to someone who doesn't fully understand how your brain works, how life works, and how to maneuver the pieces and the parts that seemingly built a problem. When I say seemingly, I talk about there's 2 parts of us. We got the conscious mind and we got the unconscious, the limbic operating system. Oftentimes, the connection between the 2 is miles apart. There's no connection. We have our consciousness and its own universe, its own world, based on what we've been taught, based on what we learned from other people, based on whatever this is. But it's not the real deal mechanics. And that's where I kind of separate from a good majority of people. There are people who do say a lot of the things exactly as I say, close, like Gabor Mate, Gabor Mate, because I watched him and goes, oh my God, he's saying the same things I have. He must be watching my videos because I see nobody else saying basically the same, which some of the elements are that you're not traumatized by the event, but rather by what your brain captured and internalized from that event, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the big difference between he and I is I know how to change the problem, the source that creates seemingly the problem, which is, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not a disorder. And that's another misnomer of the whole thing. It's not a disorder. So I call it post-traumatic stress directive.
Yes, I love that word for it.
Now, why do you love it? What is it about you when I say that?
Yeah, when you say directive, then let's see. It shows me that you know what you're actually talking about because there's a direction. It's not like something that I have to keep, that I have to live with, that I have to maybe supplement maybe take some drugs to to numb it out.
Yeah. So directive means that the brain has a purpose for what it does. And and that's a big difference than disorder. It means you're jacked up, there's something wrong, there's misfiring, there's an injury or a wound, and that's what they say. A lot of them says, well, when you have an event, you're injured.
Yes.
And it's not an injury, it's an education. It's an exposure to the world. And from that experience, your brain has to do something.
Well, and the other piece of this is when people are, I watch so many different people online, and when they talk about a wound, immediately you feel empathetic for them. And it's like, oh, and it's like you begin to live in the lower model of the world as if
Hmm.
you can't change it. You're wounded. I'm so sorry this happened to you, which I'm so sorry that that took place.
Hmm.
But the way you talk about it is from the upper model of the world where it feels very empowering
Hmm.
because if this happened to you, it's no problem. We can change it.
Right. Yeah, I'll just kind of explain a little bit upper model world, lower model world.
Yeah.
Um, and there's two different viewpoints of how we see ourselves and how we see the rest of the world and others. So when we're coming in this world, you're born, obviously, and you need the players in your life to teach you how to eat, how to walk, how to talk, how to communicate, how to survive. And so we look to these individuals in our world to gather information of who we are, what we are, and how we're to operate in the world. And we create our own internal responses and develop skills based on the exposure. Well, the problem is some people have never outgrown that model. They're always looking outside for value, for identity, for protection, or for survival. And that means you never grew up. There is no self-direction. There's no taking ownership. And so you can blame your body, you blame your past, you blame your partner, you blame the weather, you blame the government, you blame your DNA. You'll find, and again, you are what we would call a perpetual victim. You're
Yeah.
subjected to the world. So you're living in the lower mall of the world.
Hmm.
Now, the upper mall of the world is different. Now, you can say I take responsibility for I'm messed up, but it doesn't unmess you. You can say, okay, it's my fault. That's a guilt program. But what I'm saying is what I do is I help introduce to you, the listener, the student, how it works, the real raw mechanics. And I'm not talking about a philosophy. I'm not talking about some kind of special story. I'm talking about math. You do this, you do this, you get that. It's mechanical. And so I had to figure out how the mind, my first mission was, why am I so screwed up? You know,
Hmm.
I try to figure out why I'm screwed up. That was my value
Right.
system. I learned from where I came from. All
Right.
right. So I always want to figure out why. And so what I discovered is the mechanics of the mind. I started out with church, going to church with grandma, and I became a student of truth, not necessarily what the church taught, but what I was trying to figure out why, how it works, etc. Then I ran across some Anthony Robbins tapes at a garage sale, Your Unlimited Power. And what he did is he started introducing to me the inner workings of my mind, inner workings of my thoughts. It gave me the elements that are the building blocks to failures and successes, which both are one and the same. So when I began to see the mechanics in the mind, then I can say, okay, these are the moving pieces. And so when I started understanding that, I go, okay, so, and then you learn about like we call perceptual positions. We talk about the modalities of the mind and how the brain will create something and how the creations in the mind will affect us. So when you begin to understand the mental mechanics outside of philosophies, just pure raw data written on the cortices of your mind, that gave me a leg up on figuring out how to change me and to help others. So that the difference between the upper model of the world, lower model of the world is this. The upper model world says, I am responding to you.
Hmm.
This is my response to you. I'm giving meaning to what you say. I am translating internally what has been said and what has been done. And this is my programming. Now, you can't go change your history that happened, but you can change how you internalize your history. You can
That's right.
change when somebody says something to you, you give it your own meaning. So that means each and every one of us has our own internal translator. I only speak English, and I think you probably only speak English, But there's a lot of my people who follow my work speak more than one language. They have an internal translator of the world. They can take my English and translate it to German or French or Italian or Ukrainian, whatever it is. But we also have our own internal translation of the world. We translate, interpret, and give meaning to the world based on what we've created, internalized in our brain. So there's basically 5 parts that your brain will maneuver and create within ourselves the world. So upper mild world says, I'm taking ownership. I realize I'm responding to you. So therefore, what am I doing? What created this response? And then how to adjust it to where you're not taking what Crystal says personally or what Robert says personally.
Right.
So that's the key. That's the big difference. Upper mild world, lower mild world.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so let's take this back to the basics because we are talking about PTSD today. So what is PTSD and what did they get wrong about it?
Well, first of all, of course, um, post-traumatic stress disorder or trauma, it's really trauma, right? Trauma, they will say, it's coming from, I think, a Greek word, which actually means wound or injury. Now, again, we have centuries and centuries of people trying to figure out, why am I having anxiety? Why am I having panic attacks? Why am I obsessive compulsive? And so they don't understand what it is. So they're saying there's something wrong inside. There's something not working right, And so that's the thing. So if they don't understand how to do something and they have very little skills on what to do with it, I say, I don't know. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Something's not working, know. So they're going to say it's a brain injury. Yeah. They're going to call it a wound, a scar. But none of these are true. Those aren't wounds and not scars. There are data, but just like any memory can be easily updated and changed. I know I was born. Do I have any memories of it? No, it's just an actual fact. I was born. There's no memory. There's no sensations, nothing. So when I work with somebody, and now let me kind of explain who I am, what I've done for over 27 years, probably longer than that, is I work with people with severe traumas, not just the little ones, the severe ones. Work in drug rehab. Now, this is a mecca of trauma. There's so much trauma, from war memories, death memories, murder memories, rape memories, incest memories, horrible beatings and horrible abuses of all sorts and all natures. And so when they come in, I help them to adjust what created their problem, which is how their brain internalized, translated, and gave meaning to what happened to them. Mm-hmm. So we can go to your worst memory, and I've done it with hundreds of thousands. I don't think about hundreds, but I know thousands and thousands of people, more than 20,000, probably more than that. But working one-on-one with people over the last 27 years, they come in with a memory, a trauma, an experience, and then I can even help them without ever telling me one word of it. Now, that's a very powerful thing. It's not knowing what happened, but knowing how you internalize the event. Mm-hmm. So it's the internalization that makes a difference. So I work with the worst possible stuff you can imagine. War memories, death memories, murder memories, rape memories, you name it, I've worked with it. Mm-hmm. And when they're done, they know it happened, but it's not real, nor is it true today. Mm-hmm. So that goes back, this starts pointing then to memory. What is memory? Yeah. So the PTSD is the brain's response to an event, an experience. Most people think it's negative, but it's also positive as well. It's not necessarily overwhelming, nor is it necessarily a threat, nor destabilizing. It's just an internalization, it's an experience, a survival system to the brain. Bad and good are neutral. They have no value to the brain. It just says it's information, it organizes it, and it spits it out. Both for survival, both for to keep you alive.
Hmm. Yeah. So you're not making PTSD bad.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So go deeper into that for people to understand this even more. Because it is so easy to say that panic attack, that's
Mhm.
bad. I don't feel good. How can you say that that's not bad?
Right. That's a good question, really. And like I said, I work with thousands of people, right? And whenever I talk about PTSD, I go back to Marie. Now, Marie, she's an older woman. I can see her in my mind. She has a wig on. She's a heavyset woman, and sitting next to her chair as she's in a seminar is her walker. She's got beads of sweat on her forehead, and I can hear her talk, right? And so she started attending my trainings there in Oklahoma City. And I get a phone call and she says, Robert, I can't come to your meetings anymore. I said, what's wrong? She goes, well, I'm sitting in the driveway or in the parking lot, and I feel like I'm going to die. I feel like my heart's pounding through my chest. I'm having a panic attack. And I said, okay, why don't you do this? Why don't you just come to my office? I'll do a session on you, and I can help you clean this up. It's obviously it's some kind of a trauma or some kind of something that's keeping you from coming. So she booked an appointment. She didn't show up. She apologized and said, I'm having one of those things. I said, okay, well, we'll try it again. So I booked another session, same story. So
Wow.
she called me. I said, listen, Marie, I have people waiting in line for sessions. Why don't you have a friend bring you? And of course, she's very anxious, anxious and nervous.
Hmm.
And she started saying, well, and I said, well, give me your life. What is about your life? And she tells me a lot. She has a lot of traumas, a lot of negative, not so positive experiences. Been trampled in a theater, had abusive mother, some physical and emotional sexual abuses, abusive partners.
Hmm.
And so, but she said, I'm a light giver. And I go, okay, what does that mean? She goes, well, because, I was introduced to that world of metaphysical people and, all that stuff.
Hmm.
And so I said, okay, well, this might be a little bit strange, but it wasn't so bad. She says, I go to someone's house and she goes, when I go to someone's house and they have a lamp or a light, they don't have a lamp on it, I'll buy them one to kind of take care of that. And she says also, I feel like I'm allergic to lights. Now she said at the beginning, I feel like I'm allergic to lights, especially fluorescent lights. And I thought that's kind of weird. Never heard of that one, right? And then we started talking. Said like she's in my office, and I don't have fluorescent lights, we have bright lights. And said your lights are even bothering me. And I go, well, Marie, how strong is it? Like 0, I feel nothing. 10, very strong. She said like a 7. So I'm sitting at my desk, and I had the lamp, so I just face it towards her, and I go to the lamp next to her and I pull the shade off, and I turn the lights on. I said, now Marie, close your eyes and notice how strong this is. And then I started using my process, which is,
Hmm.
eutaptics, FasterEFT. And where I said, if Marie, if anything shows up, just let me know. Because here it is. This becomes what you call a survival system for her brain. Lights represented something. I didn't know what it was. And that the brain is using this light as a reference because it's linked to something. Again, I didn't know what it was. So as I started addressing this and working on her, I use a tapping process. And all of a sudden she says, I have a memory. I go, what is the memory? She goes, I'm about 7 years old, lying in bed, sound asleep, and I'm awakened by someone grabbing my hair and dragging me down the hallway. As I go down the hallway, I see the light in the hallway. And while my mother is beating me with a hairbrush in the bathroom, I'm looking at the light.
Hmm.
All right. So I work on the memory, adjust that so it doesn't have no emotional impact on her. And
Hmm.
then, oh, I got another memory, she says. I said, what is this one? She goes, when I was a little girl, they wouldn't let me drink water at night because I'd always went to bed. I went to bed for years. And so what I do is I go to I need to go to the bathroom. So they let me. So I go to the bathroom and I turn on the water faucet and I'm sneaking a drink and I see the light above my head. So I just went about the wetting the bed.
Hmm.
And then she goes, oh, I got another one now. And the other one was her uncle was doing things to her body he shouldn't be doing. And while he's doing that, He's looking at the lights.
She's looking. Yeah.
Yeah, she's looking at the lights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, before all this said, she said, said I have allergic to lights. And she said, it's weird. I'm a realtor and I take people to houses, and some houses I can't go in because of the negative energy inside the house,
Mm-hmm.
mainly in older houses, and come to find out it wasn't the energy in the house. It was the lights and resembling her childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So we cleaned it up. The
Right.
lights opened her eyes up. The lights didn't bother her. And then it's gone. Now,
Yeah.
what is it? So PTSD, what do you think those panic attacks were designed to do? Harm her or protect her?
All protection.
It was protection. Now, did she consciously know why? No.
No.
She thought she was allergic to light. She thought
Yeah.
that evil spirits in a big house was going to get her. She had all these concepts because, again, it's beyond conscious awareness. And it's the unconscious linking things together. And that's the key. Ring the bell, feed the dog, neurons that wire together, fire together, wire together. And that's
Yes.
what the brain, so a panic attack is designed to protect you.
Mm-hmm. So the brain links these traumatic experiences with
Mhm.
whatever you're focused on in that
Exactly.
moment, whatever you're
Yeah.
feeling, sensation,
Hmm.
all the different senses. Um,
Yeah.
but what I find interesting is that when we don't understand the problem, we come up with all kinds of mystical ways of
Yeah.
why we have it so that we can, and what is that about? So why do we need to, does it make us feel better? Okay, so now I know why I have this problem. It is because of the evil spirits.
Also, guys, where are you coming from? I'm in Oklahoma. Crystal's in China.
Manitoba, Canada.
Yeah. So write in the comments where are you coming from, guys. I'm very curious.
What
Yeah.
is that? Like, does that soothe us?
Well, I think because see, there's two games that's being played in the world: conscious and unconscious. The unconscious always wins. It always puts it together. Now, I also call the unconscious the intelligent idiot
Hmm.
and the faithful servant. So let's say, for example, you're having panic attacks, and then you go to somebody and say, well, it's a past life experience.
Right.
Right. And so then you go, because no, first of all, you didn't know anything about past lives. You go, what do you mean past lives? So they're going to regress you and take you into a trance, and your brain's going to create something. How many times I work with somebody who is Cleopatra, How many times I work with people who are on one of the crosses with Jesus, you know?
Hmm.
And what the brain does, it uses its creative ability to create something for you. Now, you have to understand about the brain. The brain is a faithful servant. Today, you've asked it many questions. Where's my shoes? What time is it? What am I going to eat? And it's going to help you find those answers.
Hmm.
And so if you ask questions that aren't so poignant or not so intelligent, like, what's wrong with me? Why does no one love me? Your brain's going to find a reason and a resource to support you, because the unconscious, the intelligent idiot, is like a savant. It doesn't know if it's bad or good. It just knows what to do. So if
Hmm.
you say, what's wrong with me? He's going to say, okay, it's going to go in there and start looking for something. Right. And then it
Hmm.
starts. So now you're consciously directing the unconscious to create something based on your misnomer.
Hmm.
And then, of course, what makes anything seem real is the body's reaction to it. And now you can build a belief system. And then you go to many therapists who do past life regressions, and you have a million different ones.
Hmm.
And therefore, you create something that isn't actually true, but it is creatively true. And you're always looking for proofs to support your reality and your truth. Now, do I say they exist? I say no. Your childhood doesn't exist either. Your brain created the childhood based on what it witnessed outside. And I wonder why it only mainly remembers the bad stuff, not the good stuff. And the reason is that it has survival built inside of it to stay alive. So again, now here's another thing too. Whatever you believe to be true is true, even when all facts says it's not. Your belief is true because you develop that belief, you create that belief, and you support that belief, and you groom that belief.
Hmm.
So the intelligent idiot will take a question, or somebody, you may watch a TV show And
Mm-hmm.
then while you're listening to the TV show, watching this movie, you internalize that movie, and now that movie becomes a part of you. And you could build a life based on a movie. I did that.
Mm.
I went to the movies when I was about 18 years old, and I watched this movie. And then weeks later, months later, I decided to go to the local lake, Fort Cobb, which is about 60 miles from Mustang, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I'm swimming across the lake. I'm a jock. I ran cross country, football. I'm an athlete. And I'm swimming across that lake, and I started hearing that movie theme start playing in my head. Dun, 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 dun. I go, oh shit, sharks. I never
Right.
in my entire life ever saw a shark, ever, except
Right.
I saw it on a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I got chills. I was going chills right through me. And
Right.
logically, as I'm swimming towards the bank, I go, there's no sharks. We don't have sharks. But it didn't matter because my brain created a link that made it seem real and true.
Yeah.
Your
Mm-hmm.
mother, now this is one of the worst things that you could do as a mother, is you tell your child horrible stories about your life.
Mm.
Grandma, you're sitting on grandma's lap and she's telling you war memories, how people were killed and
Oh.
starved and horrible things. And this little old girl, little old boy, listen to grandma, they're internalizing these stories and they're creating an environment, a world that's not so positive.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And this is how the intelligent idiot does. So whatever you focus on, you get. Whatever you practice, you get. Whatever you worry about, you're manifesting from within you to attract outside you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's the mechanic. The mechanics is very straightforward, and it's like because if you understand this, when you and people on this call, if you ever visit a good memory and or a bad memory, it feels like it's happening now. Logically, you know it's not. It happened 20 years ago or 50 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your brain creates it and makes it seem real. And what grabs your attention is the kinesthetics in the body. So that's the key. Memories aren't designed for proof or facts, they're designed for survival. And you could have a false memory, which is a shark memory, a movie memory, or a dream and a nightmare, or a story your mother told. You created that within you, it becomes your reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if you understand that, then you can also change that.
Yes. Yeah. So speaking of the PTSD and the trauma, if two people go through an exact experience, why does one develops like PTSD and let's say the other doesn't? So what is the difference between the
It's
two?
it's how they internalize and translate it.
Mm-hmm.
One person, like you can hate five people go to the same movie, they have five different events about the experiences with it. And the reason
Yes.
is translation. And it's all about translation.
So what is our translator? Like, is that our
Well,
unconscious mind or our
well,
brain?
it's all unconscious. Everything you do is unconscious mostly. And
Okay.
so let's say, for example, Crystal, I mean, I don't know your life much. I'm making up a story for you. So
But you do know a lot.
I try not to. But let's say you, Crystal, you had an older brother. So you had an older brother. You're born 5 years after him, and he just didn't like you. He
Okay.
picked on you. He pulled
Yeah.
your hair. He
Mm-hmm.
punched you in the arm. He would be mean to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a little old Crystal, you're going to take this as the world. People pick on you. People are mean to you. People don't like you.
Right.
Now, some of you have mothers like that. Some of you have fathers like that. Some of you have siblings, parent, friends, and people like that. So what you do is your brain starts taking this information in, and it organizes how they see the world now because they were educated. They were exposed to an environment that was unique to them and also had pain involved with that. So now what your brain's going to do is going to pull it in, it's going to organize it, create safety programs, panic attacks, anxieties, fears and phobia, obsessive
Mm-hmm.
compulsive behaviors, etc. So it's trying to keep you alive and safe. So
Mm-hmm.
so now you're at work, everybody has the same experience. Crystal's over in the corner, sucking on her thumb
With my teddy bear.
with your teddy bear.
I still have my teddy bear.
Do you really?
Yes.
That's the point. It's all
Mhm.
about translation. It's interpretation. Now it's all about perception, and perception is developed by past experiences. Now, like I said, I work with a lot of people who have severe traumas. I mean, really severe traumas. They
Yeah.
come to see me and they got fibromyalgia, the chemical sensitivities, they got all kinds of pains. They're really scared. They come from a poor, abusive environment.
Hmm.
And the problem is that they focused on it. They replayed it. They rehearsed it because it became a reality for them. And then everywhere they go, they take, I call it an imprint. An imprint is an event that your brain captured, and it gives you a who I am, what I'm gonna do, and how to operate. I call it we operate from imprinted tunnels. That means we only see from our angle of the world. So if, say, for example, um, you know, you've been picked on and bullied everywhere you go. So when you get in a relationship, you're seeing your partner as a part of that thing. So you're scared. You don't want to fight back. You don't want to stand up for yourself. He will take all your money. He'll treat you like shit and then leave you with nothing. And you will allow it because you know why? Your brother did the same to you as well.
Oh,
In
shit.
order, in order for you,
Yes.
in order for you to survive, you don't fight because he's bigger than you.
Hmm.
And this is a survival skill, but it's the thing is you're always getting screwed with a big capital F.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So when you're talking about this tunnel, it's like that's all we can see. So we're not allowing ourselves to see the
Well,
bigger picture
it's
or
not that you're not allowing, is to you already have an auto program. And if somebody else says,
right.
Crystal, go do this, it'll save you. Go
Yeah.
see this, they'll help you. You know what Crystal do? I'm standing
No,
here.
no, I'm right here. This is
My
safe. Go
brother's
see
my
my
brother's
tunnel.
watching me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
get it.
and
Hmm.
that's what panic attacks, that's what all these little programs. So you're still living in this imprinted tunnel.
Right. So how do we change from looking through this just this narrow tunnel? How do we change it?
Well, you have to go to the parts that built it.
Okay.
And the
Hmm.
parts that built it are your beliefs, which beliefs are built by memories and experiences. You go adjust your fears, you adjust the memories that created it, well, the ones you know, and the ones you don't know, they will show up or they will fade off and disappear. I mean, you as a perfect example. You're not the same Crystal we started with a few years
Oh
ago.
no. Oh no.
You're more vocal. You stand up for
Yeah.
yourself. You're
Yes.
you're no longer hiding in the corners with your
No.
little teddy bear,
Yeah. No.
right? But you were there then.
Yes.
You were
Yeah.
horrified, you know.
Yeah.
And that's now again. This is not just a one-off session. I mean, like we did big sessions on you, big memories, right?
Hmm.
But it also what I teach is how to process yourself, how to deal with things happening right now, how to handle and
Yeah.
adjust the memories that taunted you,
Yes.
and a daily walk with yourself.
That's it. Yes. And I had to learn in this process because I was the runner. Like I would run away from doing sessions like with myself. Like, and I know you created eutaptics level one. You can heal. What is it? You can
Change
master.
yourself.
Yeah, you can change yourself. You made that so that people can learn how to work on themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember level one running away from working on myself.
Yeah.
And it was just one of the most difficult things. But now I have learned I've learned what works for me. I'm very kinesthetic. I feel things very deeply. So if I'm in something, I use the process, but I also do a lot of dancing, which helps me, or I do a lot of walking
Kinesthetics, right?
while
Right.
using the
Yeah. Right.
process.
Right.
So I had to figure out what worked for me in that.
Right. Right. Now, let me just say this, guys. Memories, there's five basic types of memories. We got a visual memory, you got pictures, movies, slideshows inside your brain. Based on what's inside of the brain and based on how the emotions attached to it. So you have visual memories, you have kinesthetic memories, feelings, emotions, sensations. tightness, heaviness, pressure, sharp pain, dull pain, etc. Now, a
Mhm.
lot of people who come to see me, they have a lot of physical pains, and physical pains are emotional events are being expressed kinesthetically. So the pain is really the emotional event. But again, you don't want to go look at the picture. You don't want to visit the issue. Therefore, the brain makes it real in the body. So
Yes.
the body is speaking the truth based on what the mind holds. So there's a
Mhm.
misnomer, the body keeps the score. That's not true. The body speaks the truth or the score, and the scorekeeper is in the brain maneuvering the numbers and your body to respond. Now,
Mhm.
again, if you to blame your body, you're missing the mark. The truth is, it's the memories. And somebody said, "I'd rather you beat me with a stick than to taunt me with my memories."
Mm.
And you can't get rid of the physical beatings without addressing the memory because the memory is a scorekeeper.
That's right.
And that's again, that doesn't mean you can't. There's some really like there's a theory called the vagus nerve theory.
Hmm.
First of all, the vagus nerve is a communication highway. It's not broken. It's not doing anything wrong. It sends love messages to your body. It sends stress messages to your body because the brain is maneuvering the messages.
Hmm.
So it's not the vagus nerve broken. And then there's another theory that says it's the amygdala or the amygdala.
Hmm.
They say it's big. That's why you have problems. Again, they're just working girls. They're twins. There are actually two of them, one on each side, and they're also doing different jobs. And so they're going to blame the amygdala. It's not
Hmm.
it. It's because they're missing the mark. The mark is memories drives behaviors. So this is the key. So again, if you don't address the cause, you'll be swatting flies in the dark and never hitting anything because it doesn't work. Now, granted, you can get a temporary relief. We call it a temporary diversion. Now, our number one coping skill in the world is this: I feel bad, therefore I'm going to go drink something. I feel bad, I'm going to lose myself in a book.
Right.
I feel bad, I'm going to have a fantasy in my head. I feel bad, I'm going to drink a bottle of Jack Daniels or eat a cake or smoke a cigarette or clean the house, shop,
Yeah.
Facebook,
Mhm.
anything. So you can do things to divert, to come out of the current situation. But if it doesn't change memory, you're again chasing rainbows and rabbits. You never
Yeah.
catch it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing is we can start noticing when we are diverting, when we are running, because I'll notice myself like cleaning the house and I'm like, why am I cleaning like this? What am I avoiding? And then I
Exactly.
allow the emotions like, okay, that's where it's coming from. And then I
Yeah.
allow myself to go to it now.
Yeah. And that's another thing too about weight gain. Uh, Most people reach for food because it's the next best thing to
Yeah.
drugs. It's legal, it's
Yeah.
yours. Number one thing. And they try the diets, they try the pills,
Hmm.
they try everything. But once they come off, they go back to their own coping mechanism.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
So
then you see them gain the weight back and they're
and
even
plus
more
more. Yeah.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they hate themselves. They blame themselves.
Blame
And then they say,
themselves. Yeah.
I must have a bad gene. I'll always be fat forever. And it's
Yeah.
only because they have a bad coping skill and they're not addressing the cause, which is
Yeah.
inability to deal with their life, inability to deal with their emotions. They have emotional eating patterns that make them eat when they're not hungry. All of
Hmm.
these is and dieting work while you're in a diet. I have a great diet program. It's called
Hmm.
prison cell program. We lock you in a prison cell. We feed you sardines and water, 1 can a day. You're
Yeah,
gonna lose
that's
weight.
it. You'll lose weight.
When we open that gate and let you out, you're gonna run to the first McDonald's and buy you 6 Happy Meals.
Right. If you don't address any of the memories, that's exactly what
Exactly.
people would do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's the reason why, and then people just give up.
Yes.
And then of course they
Yes.
got this drug out there, what we call a diabetes drug, and they're taking it, losing weight, but now they have to find something else. They'll find
Mhm.
alcohol, they'll find something else, they'll find some
Yeah.
other way of coping.
Yeah. I take the strategy calls for Skills to Change Institute. And recently, some of the people that have called in, they're suffering.
Yeah.
They are suffering. They will even, cancel the call and then they'll reschedule it. Cancel the call
They're
so they can
scared.
tell. They're scared and
Yeah.
they're suffering. And I want to say to the people that are listening that when Robert is going to address your memories, that it might feel scary, but it might feel scary. It might be very hard to book that session with him, but do it because Robert knows how to clean it up. And it's really, once you're in it, once you're there, you're like, that wasn't that bad. What? Why was I running that entire time? It's because your
Mhm.
unconscious mind had you on it was protecting you.
Yeah.
But just sign up and to get that session because the suffering can end. I
Yeah.
want the suffering to end for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And now another thing too is like, I mean, I work with all walks of life, psychotherapists. I did a session with a psychotherapist. It's typical. Well, I've already dealt with that. I
Yeah.
said, that's fine. That's fine. You dealt with it. Now you
Mhm.
did deal with it. You tucked it away, pretend like it's okay. Have a good
Yeah.
attitude about it. But when
Yeah.
we went back inside of that memory, it was full on 100% real.
Yeah.
But when we got done, it's not real.
There
I
we
said, I
go.
want you to try to make it upset you. I want you to dig through the details,
Mhm.
look and see if you can find any
Yeah.
way. It says, I can't.
Hmm.
And so let me just tell you about memories, guys. First of all, memories are just written on the cells of your brain. They're not the real thing anymore. And they're very malleable and adjustable. But once you go to the memory and you updated the information, re-educate your brain, you cannot go back and feel bad because neurologically it's different. You've educated, you learned something different, you change the emotional sensations, you change, adjust how you represent internally. It's over,
Hmm.
100% over. And it reminds me, just recently, a young kid, I met her mother on an airplane and she told me about her daughter. She's had some bad events. She didn't tell me what it was. Some really bad things happened. I said, well, I can really help her. So like last month or so, she called me and she booked a session. She brought her out here to Perry, Oklahoma. And I don't know anything really. I just know she's having a bad time. And I said, okay, mom, I'm getting ready to work on her. Why don't you ask her one of the biggest things you know has affected her? So when we get done, you'll know there's been a change. And her mom goes, what do you think it is? Your dad, your stepdad? And the little girl just started crying, the rape. I said, okay, I got a good one coming up.
Ooh, yeah.
So then I brought her in, and by the time about an hour and a half into it, she said, I'm good. Now, by the way, I deal with three major, big, big emotional traumas: attempted suicide, the rape, and one other. I don't remember what it was. And
Mm.
so with each one of those, when we're done, I
Hmm.
say, make it bother you.
Yeah.
Try to make
Yeah.
it bother
I
you.
love that. Yes. Try.
Can you find a way? Now, by the way, the reason why I say that is to make sure I get any offshoots or any references
Yes.
whatsoever that their
Hmm.
brain will use against them later.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
now, when we're done, now I bring mom up and said, "Okay, mom, ask her about whatever that one." And so her daughter, it almost she had a smile on her face. She said, "Yeah, I was raped, and this happened, that happened. It's not, it don't bother me." But
Yeah.
when you have guys, you know this. When you have a traumatic event, you can't get close to it. And if you do, you're going to cry. You feel like the world's falling apart. It
Yeah.
depresses you for days. And the bad thing is, people always have their tennis shoes on, always running, and the world gets smaller. They can't watch TV. They can't go in public places. They can't see their family members. The world closes in on them because they're so scared.
Hmm.
And that's where the deal is.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's dive into PTSD and how it can affect your relationships, maybe your
Yeah.
partnerships.
Yeah. Yeah. When we say PTSD, post traumatic stress directive, right?
Directive. Hmm.
So everything, all of our today reactions are built from the past. That's simple, right?
Hmm.
So in our minds and in our worlds, we learn about how to have relationships. And how do we do that? One, our experiences with our mother and our father, our brother, our sister, the kid on the bus. And by that, we learn how to have a relationship. I've worked with a lot of people who've and the number one driving force behind relationships is the one that has the most impact, positive and or negative. But why does the negative scream louder? Because it has pain and the avoidance of pain. But here's the weird thing is when you have a bad event with your brother, first of all, it hurt you, it scared you, and then you start thinking about it. Now, here's the problem. When you have an event and you start thinking and you're asking not so smart questions, what's wrong with me? What did I
Yeah.
do wrong?
Yeah.
It's my fault. If only
Yes.
if I would be perfect. So
Yes.
maybe
How
if
do
I
you?
do everything he wants me to do, maybe he won't be mean to me.
Yes. It's like you're in my head. Those are those are the questions that I would have asked in the past.
People do it all the time. I'm no psychic. I just know how it
Right.
works. Right?
Yeah.
So then they do all these things and then they go, why do I keep picking the abusive partners? Well, think about it. This became your model of the world. And you
Yes.
start asking your brain in not so smart things. What's
Yes.
wrong with me? So they're pointing at me. What I do wrong? They're pointing at me. How can I do things so he won't do it to me
Yeah.
again? That keeps you in the what you call the trauma bonding experience.
Yes.
So then this is how we do it. This is a normal relationship for you. And a woman would say,
Yes.
my picker's wrong. I keep picking the wrong one. I said, you're not, and they're getting worse. I said, they're
Yeah.
not getting worse. You're getting better at picking what
Hmm.
fits in your mind.
Mm.
So in order to improve your relationships, you got to improve the
Wow.
ones that you started and learned from, and
Yeah.
also change how you hold it and represent that. Now, I'm guilty of this one as well. I'm very
Mhm.
guilty of that because because I have it.
What
I've
part?
had a tendency to pick a
Oh,
certain
here.
style of a person,
Okay.
and they really got better at it in my last. And the last one was really, really, really tough. And so what happened is I started thinking, why am I picking this style? What
Right.
is it in me? This is a program and programming. Where did I learn it from?
Yes. Good
And then
question.
and then I started backing up in my life, and I believe I figured the system out. If
Okay.
and it's linked to an aunt who is 4 years older than me. My
Oh,
mother was 15 when she gave birth to me, and grandma took care of us. Well, I told you about the brother who's jealous
yeah.
of you. I had an aunt who was jealous of me.
Hmm.
And that's where I believe I learned it from. Because
Wow.
again, it introduced a life to me, a world. Again, here I'm a little kid, and this is like my big sister.
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, and the weird thing is there's the two-faced side. We
Mm.
talk, if you don't, I studied narcissism recently, really in a big way, because I've experienced something really, really bizarre. And in front of grandma and others, she was so sweet and loving and kind to me.
Mm.
But behind their back, she was not.
Hmm.
And so I see that now, my relation, at least my last
Right.
few.
So then your tunnel, you saw, so didn't you see both sides or both faces when you dated?
Well, you have to understand there's a lot of emotional events have been involved. First of all, I want to get married. I want a relationship. I want
Okay,
love.
so you're blinded.
Yeah. And this is true.
Yeah.
It's like if you meet Jack and you're
Yeah.
going to date him, you're not going to say, "Oh yeah, by the way,
Yeah.
I have borderline
Uh,
personality disorder. I can hate men and I don't like relationships,
yes.
but I want to be loved too."
Yes.
So again, if you have an abusive emotional mother who's abusing you, tormenting you,
Oh,
taunting you,
yep.
these are trainings on how to treat other people. And then of course, her mother hated her dad, you know, and
Wow.
then she learns relationships.
Hmm.
But what they do is they don't bring their shit to the table until after you're hooked.
Wow. So then
And
it's covert until
yeah, I
later.
don't know. You can call it covert. You can call it.
Mm.
I mean, be honest with you. If they came up with the bad stuff at the beginning, you'd say, "I'm going for cigarettes and I don't even
Well,
smoke."
well, that's actually the truth because in the beginning of dating, people put their best foot forward,
Yeah,
and so that's
yeah,
going to be the best that you're going to get. And after that,
yeah.
you'll see, you'll see.
It's like my ex-wife. I mean, I love my ex-wife. She's a good girl, and she's going golfing with the guy she ended up marrying. You're going golfing. I said, golfing? You golfing?
Right.
It's like, what the hell? What happened to your brain? Well, it didn't last long. After they got married, she quit golfing, but it's like
Right.
she's willing to do whatever to get the man. I mean, he's a good guy too. They're both good. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, you will do things just to
Mm.
go along, to get what you want.
Mm.
And I can see that,
Yeah.
golfing is not that big of a deal, but,
Yeah. And
um,
I
yeah,
can now see why it's so essential to know that you're whole and complete before you get involved in
yeah,
a relationship. Because
yeah,
when you love yourself fully,
right.
you don't need that person to give you
But
that.
yeah, but you have to understand, there's a misnomer here, love yourself completely. There's
Okay.
some there's
Ooh.
something wrong with that.
Ooh, tell
All
me.
right. So let me ask you,
Yeah.
if you're having a fear of spiders, what is the purpose of the fear of spiders?
Well, survival will keep me
And
safe.
and keep you safe. Is there love behind that?
Yes.
Now,
According to your teaching, yes.
there is love behind it because the whole purpose of fear is to keep it from happening again.
Right. Okay.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate
Yes.
people who smoke. Why do you hate people who smoke?
Yeah, because
Well,
it
my
stinks.
grandfather died of smoking and it stinks and I don't like it. So
Right.
there is a protective system, a survival system. And the truth is, there's love behind that. Now, the weird thing is, people throw love around like it's this mushy, gooey feeling that makes you feel good all over. But love is actually staying alive and surviving and keeping me in a place that I like to feel. Now, the problem is to give you a panic attack, is that your brain's way of protecting you?
Yeah, it is.
And that's also a form of what?
Love. Okay. Okay. So then what would you call romantic love then? Like the actually like mushy gushy stuff
Well, I call it the topping, the cherry on the cake.
or
It's
the
the good stuff.
sprinkles on the ice cream.
Yeah, it's the good stuff. But again, it does because we got to stay alive. We want to survive, and I love you because it makes me feel good.
Mm,
Right. So I want that feel good.
yeah.
It's like some people love their cigarettes because it makes them feel good,
Okay. Yeah, that's
or they love
nice.
their fairyland because it gives them an escape from reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about survive. Everything, like John Lennon said, all there is love. Hate is
Mm.
love. Fear is love. Love is love.
Wow. Wow, that's actually really insightful. And love can be looked at, and there's lots of different Greek words for love too.
Yeah, yeah. Again, just remember your brain. You were talking about your brain, not consciousness. I mean, consciously, I don't like these things, right?
Yeah.
But to the brain, it's doing it because it knows it want to keep you alive and safe.
Right. Well, I actually have that awareness now. So if I have a physical symptom, I actually have the awareness now. And it makes it a lot better because I'm not beating myself up. I'm not shaming my body. I'm just like, oh, my mind is expressing this. Isn't
Yep.
that interesting? And
Yep.
and so it's very different. So, and that's because you taught me the upper model of the world.
Yeah. You got to be consciously aware of what your brain is doing. And
Yes.
if you really understand, your brain has a natural default called survival. If
Hmm.
you come from a crappy world, it's going to find ways to stay in alignment with that world and also stay safe in that world. Because in your brain, there is what I'm familiar with. This is the real world. Now, if the pain gets too much or too less, if it gets too much, you're going to find a way to lessen it or run away. If it gets too less, you're going to find a way to create turmoil to bring it back to what you're familiar with.
Yes. Hmm. Mm.
So it has a great survival. So
Yeah.
it's all trauma. Trauma is positive and negative. There's a lot of positive traumas. Feeling loved is a positive trauma. Now, we say trauma, you have to understand, we have been trained trauma is ugly and bad. To the brain, trauma is not ugly and bad. It's just survival and love.
Yeah.
So having a surprise birthday party and you feel like you're special and important, that's a positive trauma experience, traumatic experience. And your brain may start liking birthdays. Which I didn't like birthdays. Birthdays were not what you call a good thing for me. But
Yeah.
now I like birthdays. In 2015, I'm doing a training in Oklahoma City. And I mean, met like 50, 60 people there at a training. And they had a surprise birthday for me. And it was a great feeling. So it was a great positive trauma. So
Right.
now I love birthdays. When I
Right.
travel the first 6 months of the year, every seminar, we're celebrating our birthday together.
Hmm. That sounds
Of-
good.
Yeah.
But okay, but when you use the word trauma, my brain still, you're calling it a positive trauma, and my brain is like trauma. You're linking
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
so I still have a link,
Yeah.
obviously, to
Yeah.
trauma is like bad. It's not good, it's terrible,
Yeah.
it feels
Right.
terrible.
Right. Because that's again, that's coming from people who don't know how to fix it. So they label it as a bad
Yeah,
thing.
right. So we need to change. So I would need to clean up even the word trauma.
Yeah. I would just
Okay.
say I'd say an experience. To the brain is just an experience.
Right.
And reactions and programs.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positive things about this stuff too. If you have a topic you want me to cover in the future, type in the topic you'd like for me to cover. PTSD is an outcome. It's not a problem. And that's the big difference between how I see it and other people. We oftentimes we call it as a negative thing. And the weird thing is, if you think about it logically, it's a natural way our brain learn. You're a little girl and you go to school and you're learning how to write your name. And if you do it wrong to get a red mark, that red mark is basically a mini trauma. You did something wrong. So you need to learn to do it differently. And then if you made really great grades, you get a star. These are positive trauma, negative trauma. And so basically they're linking behaviors with an event such as a red check or star. This is how our brains learn. You learn how to ride a bike, you fall off, you hurt yourself. That's a trauma. It's an education.
Mm.
And then you ride your bike and you ride all the way across the street and you ride it up and down. That's a positive experience. So now you had two experiences. Now, some people, they fall off the bike and said, screw this bike, and they throw it across the bridge and they walk home. Right? They'll
Hmm.
never ride a bike again. But other people will direct it, say, no, I need to learn how to ride this bike because I feel like it's going to give me something I want. So therefore, you build positive traumas and negative traumas. So these are I call these events are little learning segments that our brain will build something.
Yeah.
Our brain learns with fractions, little pieces, and it puts all the fractions together. Now you got panic attacks and anxiety. Now you love art and you love swimming and you love talking to people. These are all experiences, many traumas, positive traumas that build an outcome. But to your brain, it's just an outcome. It's not bad. It's not good. It's survival,
Hmm.
both ways, positive or negative. Now, how did it become called a disorder? Well, if you don't know how the brain works, you don't understand the mechanics of the processing of thinking, then you have something they can't fix. Therefore, you're broken. There's damage, and we have proof. Right? That's how it became negative, called a disorder. We don't know
Yes.
what the hell you're doing. We don't know how to fix it. You're
Yeah.
broken. This is how we were going to fix it. And of course, the insight therapy means basically, which most talk therapies is insight. If you understand why you act this way, maybe you'll stop. And that really doesn't work. Sometimes it can if there's a bad good collapse, and that's how you update memories. A lot of times, like for example, Catherine, she came to my office. I don't know. She's a kind of a short woman, like 5'2" or 3, little short hair, a cute older woman. She had like a nice grandma type, right? And she's sitting in my office, and she goes, and she actually started crying. I want to just know why. Why am I so messed up? And she said, I could have two homes for the amount of money I spent in therapy. And at that point, I knew why. I said, the reason why you have problems is because of birth. I said, had you not been born, you'd have no problems. And she kind of looked at me strangely, but why do I feel so bad? I said, because you're talented. You're doing the right things within yourself to feel bad. And then she said, I don't understand what you're saying. I said, well, let me help you understand. First of all, you're not broken. You're not screwed up. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is reusing events and experiences to create what you said is a problem. I said, logic does not necessarily change the neurological information. She says, I know. I understand everything about why my dad did what he did, why my mother allowed it, why my husbands and my boyfriends all did this to me. I
Mhm.
logically understand it, but I'm still jacked up.
Yeah.
He said, I've been on antidepressants for 20 years. I'm still depressed.
Mm.
Right. And I said,
Mm.
all we need to do is get your memory list of bad events,
Yeah.
and we'll clean, adjust those events, those memories, adjust them to where they don't look the same, act the same, smell the same, or taste the same.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
that's what we did. And by the time she said, this is kind of weird. She says, I think my antidepressants are now finally starting to work. Again,
Yeah.
you think if the antidepressants, 20 years, all of a sudden some miracle happened? Now they start to work? What are we doing?
Right.
We're
Yeah.
updating your inner world.
Exactly. Yes.
And so when she talked about these events happening to her, she would drift into this pit inside of her. She said, it's a horrible place. It's a dark, nasty pit inside me. When they're doing bad things to me, when they're abusing me or yelling at me or bad things are happening, I fall into this pit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, in my logical world, it says, oh, the pit is a survival skill. It's helping you to stay alive
Yeah.
based on what's happening.
Yeah.
So then I said, we're going to clean up the pit. So we're going to go in. We start addressing emotions. I said, go in there. What do you find? And all the emotions and feelings, etc. And we start cleaning this up. Now, as a side note, and we'll come back to this, our number one coping skill is to avoid our pain,
Mm-hmm.
avoid our trauma. What do? We'll run over here and we'll drink
Yeah.
something. We'll run over here, we'll eat something, we'll
Distract.
smoke something, we'll do something clean, sharp. And here's the problem. When you have the pain and you run over here for the pleasure, eventually the pain moves closer and closer to what you escaped with. And now your pleasure becomes your noose around your neck. Now it becomes the problem
Right.
because you kept running from, but not cleaning up. Therefore, what you love becomes something that torments you
Yeah.
because they start to move closer and they move into one. That's why
So,
a lot of people have issues with the thing that they used to use to save them.
wow. Wow. I can see it. Even with the
Yeah,
shopping, and people struggle with money.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Or
Alcohol,
or they use
drugs,
food to escape
food.
their emotions to find love,
Yes.
and now their food is now destroying their health. They can't wash parts of the
Yes.
body. They're ashamed of
Oh,
themselves and all that. It becomes a big mess.
yes. And meanwhile, the answer's right here. You have the answer. You've been talking about it this entire hour.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the truth, guys. It's 100% truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Now,
both
guys.
experienced it.
Oh yeah,
People that are
guys.
going through the system are experiencing the freedom.
Yeah, yeah. I really it's learn to like yourself within yourself. When I say like yourself, I say clean up what's not so good.
Hmm.
Now, some people, um, they don't necessarily want to let go of the memories. They don't want to get close to the memories, and whatever they have inside controls them.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
becomes their boss, their master. It's not the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah,
Not the best.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is June, PTSD Awareness Month, post traumatic stress directive. What's its purpose? What's it trying to do for you? And if you know how to change what's inside you, you set yourself free from the old behaviors. I mean, I work with people with war memories. They killed people. They saw people killed. Their buddies were destroyed in front of them. They guilted. The horrible stuff. And all they could find a way out was alcohol, drugs,
Hmm.
sex,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And another thing too about trauma. Trauma shows up in a kinesthetic way. It shows up in illnesses. It shows up in panic attacks,
Yes.
obsessive compulsive behaviors, bipolar behaviors. Um, the
Hmm.
all the disorders that they dish out are basically based on trauma.
Hmm.
Basically, it's an education, and
Hmm.
that's the good stuff too. Good stuff as well. If
Yeah.
you have positive relationship traumas, you're going to have better relationships.
Oh, say that
Tom?
again.
You, you
My
see, you got
brain,
this, you
my
got this,
brain.
yeah, because you go trauma is bad.
Yes, I
When I
did.
say trauma, you got to
Yeah.
change the word
Yeah.
education. It's
Yeah.
just education.
Yeah. So for the students that are listening, put this on your peace list. Oh, and also there was something else you mentioned, when like the school traumas with like the red marks, like, on the paper, like let's say
Yeah.
you get an F, you know, all of those, like put that on the peace list.
Yeah. Yeah. School issues is the number one. I mean, if
Yeah.
we were to look at your areas of life to clean up, is first of all, the first one is your interpersonal relationships with family members.
Hmm.
They play a major role in who we are, how we are, and our identity and value system, relationships, etc. The second one would be school. School plays a major role in our problems, how we see ourselves, how we're smart, good enough, etc. How they treated us, what teachers did to us, etc. Your emotions around school, the pressure. Also, you'd look at your relationships. Now, your friendship relationships, your girlfriend relationships, your boyfriend relationships. Relationships also educate you on how to have relationships. Traumas, positive traumas, negative traumas. They outline education, positive education, negative education. And then also illnesses, accidents.
Yes.
They play a major role in identity and value. They are also considered a education, aka trauma. And then you'll look at sexual exposure. Sexuality is a major contributing factor to identity and value system.
Oh yeah, big one.
Unwanted, wanted, shame,
Mm.
guilted, comes from all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
Your relationship with money, relationship with finances, major area of our life. Your spiritual, church, religious upbringings. That they have presumed truths that they operate from. And
Yeah.
if those truths are not healthy, then you grow up with an unhealthy view about yourself, the world, and God, if whatever it is that you see.
Right. Yeah.
What's another one? Oh, yeah. Any major events, childbirth, a lot of women, childbirth was hell.
Hmm.
I mean, working with a woman has all kinds of physical illnesses and illnesses from left to right. And it went all the way back to birthing, the fear
Hmm.
of birthing,
Yeah.
the birthing aspect, the fear
Yeah.
of the unknown, and the giving of birth to a child. Your life actually changes when you give birth to a child. You're no longer independent. You have a dependent person that you have to take care of. You lose
Hmm.
your freedom.
Yeah.
Your body changes, stretch marks, and this
Mm.
and that shifts and changes. And then, of course, the fear that you won't be loved again because your body changes. There's all kinds of weird stuff involved with this.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
another major component is losses. Now, there's
Hmm.
all kinds of losses, not necessarily death. A young girl lost her home because they moved to a bigger house in a different city, and she lost all of her friends. And the grief is what we do inside of ourselves to torment
Hmm.
ourselves. So
Hmm.
the losses, and that could be deaths as well, pets, friends. It goes on and on. All
Right.
of these are major areas that we've learned to survive. And if you have negative ones, we'll call them traumas. They have a big negative impact on our future, our identity, and our values today. So, but these are all areas to work on now, because I'm an expert in understanding how the mind works. I know what trauma is. I know how to change it. Now, there's a big difference in me than most. I can talk theory, but I know how to do it. I show
Yeah.
you how to do it, and we do it. It was
Yes.
there. Now it's not. There's a
Yeah.
big difference.
Yeah. Exactly.
No microdosing, no
No.
drugs, no years and years of therapy.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
call the cleanup on aisle me.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one. I keep forgetting. I still do clean up on aisle three.
No, it's me now. It's all about you.
Yes, me. That's right. Clean up on aisle me. We need to make a t-shirt with that on it. That would be awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. All right. Any closing remarks or statements?
What we can say, guys, life is meant for living, and you are living,
Yeah.
and your brain is creating a life based on what you've captured, your mind held, and used on you, for you, and seemingly to you against you. You're in a new world, a new environment, but you're still bringing your history with you. The old programming, you're living in an imprinted tunnel seeing the world the same as you saw your childhood. And I think it's time to grow up, really. It's time to get the lesson, let go of it, update you, and create relationships that's better. Create a healthy relationship with yourself. Create a healthy relationship with how your brain works and maneuver the brain, operate the brain in a way that's going to create something more amazing. We're not making up fantasies. We're not making up fallacies. We're creating a new me by adjusting what you hold within thee.
Yeah.
Your brain is a producer and a manifester, and it creates your world. If you don't like the world you're currently creating, it's time to create something better by changing the pieces inside. This is a journey you'll be on until the day you die. Each journey will have great exciting points. There'll be super scary points, but remember, you're the dragon slayer now, and you can conquer all the things that used to scare you because they're just memories.
Yes, I
So,
like that. The Dragon Slayer. Yes, it sounds so empowering.
yeah, and dragon tastes like chicken, so put a lot of ketchup on it.
Oh gosh, there is a dragon inside of us. There's a strength inside of us. It's who
Yeah,
we
very
are.
powerful. We're very powerful.
Yes, we are absolutely powerful.
Very powerful.
Yes. All right.
All right.
So
Thank you, guys.
yes, thanks for joining us today.
Peace.
Peace.